Everyone, I'm here with a very sharp gentleman, Barry Soloman from Cabrera. Thanks for being on camera.
Well, Mr. T, it's a pleasure to be here. It's really nice to sit and talk with you for a bit.
Yeah, no, we've had some good conversation here. Now, Barry, you have a lot of experience not only in Dominican Republic, but internationally when it comes to how the world is functioning and what happened in the past. I know you're very educated in that way. Based on all of that, you put together initially Drescapes, and now you have a YouTube channel called Something Feels Wrong. Do you want to just give the viewers a background flash of what made you choose those names and what you do?
Well, actually, I can't even remember who chose the first one, but they're great folks. I was with Drescapes, and we got that thing rolling primarily with people that were into trends, and that developed, and it just, my God, it snowballed. And then just due to a change of taste, I did not particularly want to expand, and my partner did, and they're great people. They're still around. We decided, and we figured out, I was just sitting with my wife one day, and we just figured out, with all the thousands of people that have reached me around the world, I don't care if it's email or phone or Skype, whatever method of technology, one way or another, they're all saying something feels wrong to them in their country. Very interesting. So that's how we came up with the name, Something Feels Wrong.
Right. And what is it that feels so wrong to most people?
Well, that varies. It's subjective. Well, truth is objective. It's singular. Opinions and things vary that are subjective. Some, it's infringement of government. Some can't understand anymore how they work longer and harder to take home less. Others can't figure out why is it not the way it used to be. Things don't feel the same way it used to be. I need a permit for my kid to sell lemonade. Things have just gotten out of control to where sanity seems insane. I'll leave it at that.
So what are you encouraging people to find down here that's different in that environment back in, say, Canada, US, and places like that?
Actually, I'm going to use what I told you because you started laughing. Every country I've ever been in, so stop the crap about talking about corrupt governments and this and that. I've never been to a country that isn't corrupt. The better question is, learn to live in a country that you can still afford the corruption. That's why I'm here.
Just elaborate a bit on that one, because I think it's a great way to put it.
Elaborate on it in terms of, from a very smart person once told me, it really doesn't matter how many laws a country makes, it matters if they can be enforced. So take a look at your own country. The deflection of the police taking on more of a military look to them, armored vehicles, bulletproof, state-of-the-art military equipment. Why is that needed for police? Why is it that all of a sudden ticket ratios have to be at a certain amount to make ends meet? Why is it that you feel your freedoms are being eroded? This is what people are telling me now. Remember, my last year in Western society, other than when my father got sick, was 1984, late 1984. So when I went back for a vacation a couple months ago, people were saying, Barry, be very careful because we've been with you. And the way you live here, you're going to get arrested in under 2 days. Just be careful of what you do. The way you take for granted, you don't even worry about here, you're going to get arrested or ticketed. So just use that to the best. When I went home, I started, there's nothing like an analogy. You see somebody gain or lose 30, 40 pounds. You don't see them for 3 years. It's like, whoa. But if you see them every day, you don't even notice it almost. And that's the drip campaign that's being done on people. Same with TSA, same with anything else. It's all a matter of control. It's not a matter of money. These people have money. They don't need money. They need control. And that's why you're saying, there are many people around the world that, quote, something feels wrong. It's not how I grew up.
So, to stay sane, if you can't change the system because it's heading on a crash course collision to becoming a totalitarian society, we can change if we wake up in time before we hit the curve. We can change the piece of land we live on and go to, like you said, a place where you can actually afford the corruption.
That, again, is a subjective decision because society, as a general rule, the citizenry is fairly ignorant. And when I use the word ignorant, I'm using it in the correct tense. I haven't insulted anybody. Ignorant, the root is ignore. They're ignoring information that is available to them. And that's what makes them ignorant. And it's not that they're bad, it's not that they're stupid, they're bright people. The point is, though, I find that people don't change until it personally affects them. It's like if you lose your job, Mr. T, it's a recession. If I lose, it's a depression. We're reactive by nature. Very few people are proactive. Most wait till a situation, then they react to it. That's exactly the position they want you in. Because when you react, you don't make sensible decisions. You make panic decisions. The thing is, what people should realize and do their own research, certainly don't take my words. Every human being is born into this world with 4 primordial fears, they're called. And 1 is darkness, 2 is predators, 3 is chaos, and 4th is abandonment. And the people that are forcing you to make these reactive decisions understand that, where most of the citizenry does not. So they put you in a position, no, it's called a Hegelian dialect. They create the problem only to turn around and offer you the solution. And the price is always the same. It always just seems to cost you a little bit more of your freedom. That's the price.
I heard a good proverb, I would rather have dangerous freedom than safe slavery, because that slavery is increasingly robbing you of freedoms, you know, and it gets to a point where you're not allowed to travel, you're not allowed to fly, you get fined for this, fined for that. Now you're not allowed to defend yourself. You have to accept that your children get indoctrinated, or you're doing something illegal by not sending your kids to their schools, or it's illegal to homeschool.
This is opening up the doors to several videos that we can talk about this. If this is something, I would like to get these words out to as many people as I can. Not even so much for myself or for you, but just for humanity. The thing is, I think the first thing people need to do is suspend any preconceived beliefs and just be willing to listen to information and do your own research. But the point is, if you go back, you have to place yourself in the time that the situation occurred. For example, if you want to go back to the start of America, we can give 1,000, but the start of America, go back and look at all the forefathers you worship now. Go back the 239 years. They were all the revolutionaries of their time. Now they're your heroes. Okay, you can't tell truth without causing friction. And they knew it. But Samuel Adams, I couldn't give you a better example, was known as the #1 troublemaker of his time. So if people started a revolution over taxation the first time it came in, which was in the harbor of Boston, all over a 2% tax on tea, and they threw the whole cargo in the harbor, can you imagine our forefathers? I think they'd piss on us right now if they saw how much crap we're taking. But the thing is, they've isolated us. If they don't bother my children, my world is good. See, we live in a pixel, but the world is a painting. And they've divided us that well. If my pixel's okay and my retirement check or my work or my children are okay, then the world is okay. That is their belief. Belief is another interesting word. We can
so the governments are really good, like they always have, at divide and conquer.
You can call them whatever you want, just don't call them stupid, because you've made your first mistake.
And when it comes to dividing and conquering, I mean, just things that come to my mind now is religious divide, political divide. Now it's sexual divide, you know, with the whole transgender push, and racial divide. I mean, there's probably many, many more.
Can I ask you a question, Mr. T?
Sure.
What's changed other than the technology over the last 6,000 years since the Sumerian culture? It's always been about divide. And I think that is something that's unplugged in our DNA purposely. There's what people call junk DNA. Oh no, it's not junk. It's just not activated. And that's always going to play until people can let go of beliefs. You know, it's really funny. You can use pseudoscience, you can use religion, you can use sexual preferences you mentioned. I don't care what it was, but if you want to take, for example, I've spoken with thousands of people like yourself. You even take, and I'm not saying pro or con, I'm just saying it is what it is. Thousands of people, you ask a question about your exoteric beliefs in religion, right? You'll find out 99% are going to tell you. It's where they were born, it's what they were born into, and it's the area of the world that is most prominent of that belief. So in other words, the most devout Hindu or Christian, if they were born in a different country, would be the most devout for that particular religion of that country. It's just ironic when you break it down. Beliefs are very strong. People will die for their beliefs.
So just to switch it back to the topic of making a choice about your life instead of just blindly going along down the toilet pipe with increasing rules, increasing regulations, increasing cost of living, etc., etc., to actually stop and reflect. Is this what it was 50 years ago, 100 years ago, that I could have stomached, could have enjoyed and lived quite prosperously in, where today two-income families can hardly feed their kids, and they hardly ever see their kids. I mean, it's the frog in the pot. You know, if you don't wake up at some stage and say, enough is enough, there must be a smarter, better way of me living my life, and let's just do some research and find out where could that be, and how could my life be 10, 20, 30, 40, 50% better than it is now. That's
a good question, Mr. T, but again, I go back to kind of explaining it in a way that it's subjective to some people. You use the word enough. Enough has a different meaning to everybody. So for some, they will remain under that condition their entire lives. Others will start to see this isn't right, I'm going to start doing some research. Others will see this isn't right, but they won't do research. So again, enough is different for every human being. What is objective, only one again goes back to truth. But I find most people say they want the truth, but if the truth differs from a belief, it becomes a friction, and it's a thing that we need to work on a little bit all together. But that's the best way I can answer that question. For some, relocation makes all the sense in the world. For others, it won't. And just like I turn off from saying where I live, just because I think the DR's the best place for my family, be it demographics, be it how we live, be it that there are many other countries where someone is going to say is best for them. But again, that's all subjective. I say the best thing is to open your mind and go to the places. If you're looking, first of all, at relocation, go to the places of your interest. Get to meet a few of the people who represent that area. You go to where your gut tells you feel the best, if any of them do. And that way, you see, people talk to me a lot. We'll talk if I'm ever invited back for another film.
You will be.
Free will is another big thing, people. Well, what about my free will? Yes, we all have free will, but free will basically pigeonholes to making a choice. Do you want to connect or not to? Free will can't protect you from the choice you've already made that your free will allowed you to make. You can't be protected from the effects of that choice. That's where your free will runs into a brick wall. And I think more and more people are starting to understand that. And I think I love this country, but that doesn't mean anybody else will. You know, they're all corrupt. They all, geez, I have less crime in our areas. You know this. We have less crime in our areas than people who live in Illinois are facing in a day. We don't have that in a year. I mean, it's up to the individual, but I will say I found in my travels, crime and stupidity are pretty close cousins.
Barry, thank you very much. Such wise words, and everybody watching, you can probably tell Barry's a wealth of knowledge. If you'd like to watch more of it, stay tuned, because he will be re-invited. And I just introduced him to another guy you saw in one of my previous videos, Justin, and I'm even hoping to get the two of you together for a little discussion on camera.
So we'll have a lot of fun together. We'll laugh and cry a little bit together.
Excellent. Take care, and if anybody would like to connect with Barry, check out his YouTube channel, somethingfeelswrong.com, and you can feel free to communicate directly to him down there. Again, thank you.
Mr. T, thanks a lot for your time.
See you next time.
Running into you.
Cheers.